Have you ever heard of the burning of Alexandria? It's the historical tale of a library that contained a priceless amount of human knowledge, and how on one fateful night it burned to the ground, losing everything inside. Countless texts, accounts, and stories were lost in the process, possibly setting humanity back hundreds of years. While historians can't agree exactly how this happened, there are a few different theories. Some believe that it was due to Caesar setting fire to a fleet which unintentionally spread to the library, while others suggest it was due to early Christians burning down what they believe to be pagan texts. Regardless of how it happened, the library is said to have been burned down along with all the precious works inside of it, millions of ideas and words being forever lost, causing a wrench to be thrown in humanity's progress. The main idea is that perhaps one of the greatest tragedies mankind can experience might not be a loss of material goods or possessions, but rather knowledge. Lately, I've seen the burning used as a comparison a lot, as the story has become a symbol for the modern preservation of media. One of these modern issues that gets compared a lot is how much lost media the internet has suffered. It seems like every month I hear more and more about companies setting fire to art solely for corporate gain. In the past, physical media ensured that consumers could own whatever they bought forever. If you bought something on DVD like, I don't know, Family Guy seasons 1 and 2, that was yours to keep. But because Netflix caused Blockbuster to go extinct, we are now at the mercy of streaming services and their parent companies. And man, have they been trying to erase content off the internet faster than any fire ever could. It would seem that I'm trying to say that greedy companies and the executives that run them are the biggest threat to information and art. After all, they clearly care more about money than being responsible with the works they own. However, even the greediest companies and the tallest skyscrapers are ran by humans. As much as I want to say that these evil acronyms are the biggest threat to art, I can't. I wish that humans with all our flaws were the only ones screwing things up. Instead, it is our newest invention that I fear. One that not only has the power to kill art, but also communication and truth. Dead internet theory is a theory that has some baggage to it, because on one hand, there's a lot of evidence that it's real, and it's become extremely popular over the last 2 years. But at the same time, explaining it from the ground up is difficult, because the people who originally wrote it were not the most sane. So what is this theory? Well, let's start off with the Wikipedia definition. The dead internet theory is an online conspiracy theory that asserts that the internet now consists mainly of bot activity and automatically generated content that is manipulated by algorithmic curation, marginalizing organic human activity. Proponents of the theory believe that these bots are created intentionally to help manipulate algorithms and boost search results in order to ultimately manipulate consumers. Furthermore, some proponents of the theory accuse government agencies of using bots to manipulate public perception, stating the US government is engaging in an artificial intelligence-powered gaslighting of the entire world population. The date given for this death is generally around 2016 or 2017. I'm not the biggest fan of this definition, and it has to do with what I was talking about right before I read it. A lot of the theory sounds like it could be onto something. Bots and algorithms having a bad influence on the internet sounds pretty reasonable, but then you hear a bunch of stuff that sounds sketchy, like stuff about the government gaslighting the entire world, and a doomsday that supposedly already happened back in 2017. The definition sounds pretty rational at first, but then it starts to sound more like a fever dream towards the end. And if you're anything like me, this might make you skeptical. However, don't judge the theory just yet, because it's actually one of the most provable and current theories that's happening right now. Like I said, it just has some baggage. The reason why this definition is so double-sided is because it's attempting to squeeze two versions of a theory into one. You see, while most sources will tell you that there's only one dead internet theory, I believe that over the years it's split into two versions: the original pre-AI theory and a new modern adaptation. The modern version is incredibly realistic, and you can find tangible evidence for it everywhere. It doesn't even feel like a theory as much as it just does an educated prediction at where the internet is headed as a result of AI. As for the original version, well, the original version is more of a classic conspiracy theory. It's where that part about the government gaslighting the entire world comes in. This was the first working version of the theory, and it was forged from the depths of ancient image boards. So it's much more elaborate and questionable than the modern version. However, it is still how the dead internet theory began, and it's important for contextualizing the modern version. So we're gonna get right into it to see how this all started before getting into the actual scary stuff. Stuff you can see happening right now. Compared to many conspiracy theories which have been around for decades, the original dead internet theory is relatively new, and not thought to have existed before the 2010s. We don't know where the first mention of the theory was made, however, it's believed that it arose out of discussion from 4chan or a similar website. So what led these early forum posters to believe that the internet was dead? Well, ever since the web entered the age of social media, whispers of fake people and company influence started to be speculated. 4 years into its debut, Facebook wasn't going anywhere and the internet had transformed. No longer was it a sea of scattered communities running on small websites. Instead, users were now united under massive social platforms, unable to resist revolutionary features like Farmville. This left thousands of early websites in the dust as they began to lose their user bases, and some of these websites that once hosted high-traffic forums were being abandoned as users began to jump ship. As the ceiling shook and the pillars cracked around these old-school forums, those who stayed behind started to theorize that the internet was heading for the worst. At first, you might think that they were just annoyed by the new wave of trends, and that's probably partly true, but I think that the reason why these discussions really started was not just because these users found social media to be dumb, but they also didn't trust it. Instead of seeing social media as a new and novel invention, many of these users were very suspicious about it. In their eyes, social media meant that companies and authorities were now more invested in the internet than ever. And as you can imagine, anyone into conspiracies at the time became very skeptical. Not only did these new networks have massive amounts of resources, they also had a drive for profit, as most, if not all, social media must make money off of its users to succeed. It wasn't long before people decided the internet had been compromised, believing that by signing up and using these corporate websites, the internet had surrendered its freedom. And as I see it, that is how the dead internet theory was born. The belief that social media was a Trojan horse for algorithms, bots, and outside influence to take over the internet. Despite ideas like this being discussed many times throughout the 2010s, we don't actually find an official forum post for the theory until 2021, on a website called Agora Roads Macintosh Cafe, where a user by the name of Illuminati Pirate wrote about how they felt the internet had fallen from grace. Basically, people had been discussing the theory for a while, but this was the first time that someone really sat down and put it all in one place. It's not like everyone agreed with all the points in this post, but most people do point to it as the definitive dead internet theory post. The theory is called dead internet theory. Most of the internet is fake, and starts off with a greeting.
Hello. I would like to talk, or rather tell you about certain suspicions, hunches, and experiences I've had, and I'm sure some of you as well. Similar themes have been written about across image boards quite a few times, so I know I'm not alone in this. My goal by posting this seemingly jumbled mess is to, how can I put it? I want you to think. I want you to be aware, to digest all of this. Because on a basic level, I love you all. I feel like we're all in this together. This dangerous game we did not choose to play, and which I think is kicking into high gear. I do not hold many answers and don't have all the pieces of the puzzle, but I am aware there is a puzzle. Please feel free to go wild with all of this. Post it wherever you want or whatever site you want or use. I'm a nobody like you. And what matters to me is only that this reaches you and as many people as possible. At worst, you'll be entertained or kill time. The internet feels empty and devoid of people. It is also devoid of content. Compared to the internet of, say, 2007 and beyond, the internet of today is entirely sterile. There is nowhere to go and nothing to do, see, read, or experience anymore. Yes, the internet may seem gigantic, but it's like a hot air balloon with nothing inside. Some of this is absolutely the fault of corporations and government entities.
This post is significant for two reasons. One, it made the term dead internet theory mainstream, and two, it was essentially made right before AI went big. And yet, as we'll see, the post was suggesting that AI had already taken over, which makes it seem pretty legit on the surface. However, this post is far from being some undeniable study. A lot of the points in it are riddled with offensive words, horrible takes, and irrelevant information about the user's internet activity. It frustrates me because the post shows a lot of good potential, but then the author goes off on rants about stuff that is clearly a result of personal bias, or just straight up false. Like I said though, it's the foresight about predicting AI that makes this post interesting. So what else does Pirate have to say? Pirate is trying to say that the internet has been compromised, and he believes that the majority of humans have been replaced with AI. AI that has caused him to apparently notice horrifying changes. One of them is that dozens of online contacts he used to know have suddenly disappeared. Pirate claims that this happened indiscriminately across every website, whether the people were controversial or perfectly appropriate. For seemingly no reason at all, many of his friends have disappeared without explanation. Another point that Pirate makes is about the endless cycle of reposted content he's seen online, with the same memes getting upvoted every year, even though everyone's already seen them. Pirate also talks about seeing the same generic news articles about space reappearing every year, noticing how stories about asteroids and the moon are published like clockwork. Those are the few points that I can reasonably recite, all stuff about the internet that is technically true, and could potentially be the result of AI activity. But the further down down you go through Pirate's points, the less they start to make sense. Outside of those few reasonable points, which can sort of be explained anyways, most of the concerns that Pirate has with the internet have to do with bizarre ideas. Like that Pepe the Frog is part of a sentient entity's online evolution, that there's currently a secret internet civil war going on involving Mark Zuckerberg, and that the original writer's strike never ended because all the writers have since been replaced with robots. And that's why our movies are so bad. Except for anime, because the AI invasion conveniently never compromised Japan. That's why I really wanted to take the time earlier to distinguish that there are two sides to the dead internet theory, and that this side's a little more inventive. As I said, even the good points I listed, like online contacts disappearing, and generic space articles can be explained. Whether you made friends on an MMO or Rainbow Six Siege, sometimes the people you meet just go offline. Okay, that sounds like they died, but that's hardly always the case. People move on from the internet and the websites that they use all the time. Whether it's because they graduated, started a family, or just forgot their password, it's likely that all of Pirate's contacts just moved to Facebook and Twitter when they came out too, leaving him and the others who stayed behind on these OG forums. The concerns about reposts and generic articles can be chalked up to people just being lazy journalists, posting the same successful articles because they get the most clicks. And you see the same memes reposted every year for the same reason, because some people just have a lame sense of humor, and are going to be laughing about the same jokes about chonky dogs in 5 more years from now, I'm sure of it. Outside of those points, I can't say Pirate has said anything that really holds validity, except for at the end of the post when he points to the reason for it all, which is of course everyone's least favorite buzzword that actually seems here to stay this time, AI. After about a dozen points about how the internet and culture as a whole has been infiltrated by the government, Pirate states his thesis.
I am absolutely certain this was an AI of some sorts.
He then gives his own timeline of AI's creation and government acquisition before stating this.
I think it's entirely obvious what I'm subtly suggesting here given this setup, but allow me to try to succinctly state my thesis here. The US government is engaging in an artificial intelligence-powered gaslighting of the entire world population. There is a large-scale, deliberate effort to manipulate culture and discourse online and in wider culture by utilizing a system of bots and paid employees whose job it is to produce content and respond to content online in order to further the agenda of those that they are employed by. Already we've seen this in foreign nations influencing elections by manipulating advertising algorithms on social media in order to push specific candidates. As I see it, it is due to a positive feedback loop. I blame Facebook and Twitter. The internet is a fast way to get info, and info is what moves the mind. And the thing is, the mind likes recognition. When the likes were introduced without negative feedback, they created a copy feedback subconscious. They made it so only positive opinions were propagated, also accepted, and in its way negative opinions to be obsolete. Now add bots to this. Make it so an opinion be repeated more and more. They are faster than us, so the positive feedback makes it so we copy the bots, and anonymity can't do anything against it because we can't influence the bot like we would a human. This is an easy weapon to manipulate people, so anyone with an agenda can use a bot.
Pirate believes that the internet was already an echo chamber due to people seeking positive validation, and he believes that AI on the internet was placed to exploit this vulnerability, as it can theoretically not only upvote what content it wants us to see, but also create its own content faster than any of us. This excerpt is much closer to the modern version we'll discuss, and it's where Pirate starts to wrap up their post. They talk about how AI has been secretly researched since 2004, and how the government is hiring employees to trick us, yada yada yada. What a bunch of hippy-dippy baloney. The truth is, I don't care about any of that. I don't care about who's behind this, or who's behind that, or how many FBI agents are watching me build my Minecraft house. I understand that the government is connected to dozens of conspiracies for good reason, and I'm not saying they're completely uninvolved with this theory. However, I think trying to figure out who's using bots on the internet, and eventually AI, is irrelevant here. We could spend all day trying to figure out what organization infiltrated the internet, and never figure out that it's really Atlantis. That's the problem with an anonymous platform. In my opinion, the issue with bots and AI is not that there's a particular agency sending them out, but that anyone can use them. What actually makes me fear the dead internet theory is not its origins per se, but rather the fact it seems to be happening right now. For me, it's not about what organization is killing the internet, but rather the technology that's doing it itself. That sentence right there at the end. Anyone with an agenda can use the bot. Pirate might have said a lot of stuff I disagree with, but that right there was spot on. Anyone can use ChatGPT. AI doesn't need an overarching state or organization to lead it. It's not a dog on a leash that only a few elite members can use. Instead, it's a free, free, massively dangerous tool that everyone can use. And now we're starting to see the consequences as the internet eats itself alive. This stuff about the government or a corporation being the bad guy, I don't find it compelling. And that's why I don't like the original theory. What I'm afraid of is the monster itself. As I said, when it comes to the dead internet theory, there are two interpretations. There is the original dead internet theory that says the internet is dead due to becoming too centralized, and the second version of the theory, which I believe to be far more real and simple. This theory doesn't worry about where AI came from or who's pushing for it the most. Instead, it simply believes that the existence of AI itself will kill the internet. Compared to the original theory, this is much less of a conspiracy and much more of a reality, and what we'll be focusing on talking about now. Let's take a look at bots. In 2023, a cybersecurity company called Imperva released an annual report. This is a report that has been happening every year for the last 10 years, where Imperva does a global analysis of bot activity on the internet. According to their report, they found that 47.4% of all internet traffic came from bots in 2022. 17.3% of these bots were considered to be good bots, which are the helpful bots we use to run a lot of stuff on the internet. However, the other 30.2% were expressly labeled as bad bots. Bots that are trying to scam you, that are hoarding all the Taylor Swift tickets. Those annoying types of bots make up 30% of the internet. 30% of the entire internet population is on Ticketmaster right now taking those Playboy Cardi tickets. According to Check, another cybersecurity platform, during the 2024 Super Bowl, over 75% of user traffic that Twitter funneled to its advertisers were bots. Bot activity on the internet is at a high we haven't seen in years. But they aren't just increasing in quantity, they're also evolving. You might have noticed that bots have changed. They're not the same primal salespeople that used to trick us into signing up for fake Robux generators. Before AI, bots would only be able to say whatever phrases they were programmed to. After all, there was no way that some script could come up with a completely new phrase. And they also usually had no idea what they were commenting on. Because they didn't have the data to understand anything, they would often leave their comments on posts that didn't make any sense, making it obvious that they weren't human. But now, because of AI, bots can find conversations, adapt to what's being said, and comment far more often than any human. AI has taken these bots from being minions that read a script to agents that can speak to our conversations no matter what we're talking about. Sure, they're pretty easy to spot, but they are learning. The important thing to emphasize is that when it comes down to it, bots are still nothing more than puppets, reading the lines that they get from AI. While they do act as a catalyst, it's the AI they use that's the real mastermind. From what I've been able to glean, this is how the relationship works. The bots will be sent out to as many social media comment sections as usual. However, now instead of pasting in a written message, they go straight to an AI like ChatGPT for help, pasting whichever post they want to reply to, along with a prompt that probably says something like, "Respond to this." Then the AI gives the bot a message, which it ultimately replies with. The stress of merely playing cards with the Star Wars Crusaders caused Darby's life to accelerate at an inhuman pace and go hysterical.
Just like how JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders brings its unique charm despite its flaws, investing in cryptocurrency is about embracing the journey.
Currently, there are two ways that I can see bots already flooding the internet: AI art and bot conversations. Starting off with AI art, if you want proof of this, just try searching for a picture. As of now, if you search pig on Google Images, you'll see real pigs. Just the way that America intended it. You ask for something from the library, and here it is in its real form. This was once something that I used to not think twice about. Sure, sometimes Google would show me irrelevant results, but it wasn't like they were trying to convince me that they were good. When I searched for an image difficult for Google to produce, I would only find bad content if I scrolled down far or went to page 2. But now with the integration of AI into the internet, this experience has quickly changed. Now when I try to search pig, at least one AI image will always rear its ugly head. But that's not a big deal, right? Because the results are still mostly real pigs. But you know what happens if I simply add the word happy? Not AI, not cartoon drawing. What happens when I simply decide to add the adjective happy? Before AI, you'd probably see human illustrations of pigs smiling, or maybe just on some free-range grass. But now, only a few years into AI's debut, it's already diluted the most basic search processes. You see, Google allows AI websites to be a part of the Google image pool, meaning that when you search for an image and Google checks the whole internet, it'll show you any AI results it finds. I know this because I'm being bombarded with them. To be honest, that makes sense. When you search for something on Google, it's not like it's browsing its own private catalog. It's going to show you what it finds on the internet. But these AI images are starting to surface above real ones. I know a lot of people are using image generators, but surely not enough to show such a huge impact on search results, right?
The internet feels empty and devoid of people. It is also devoid of content. Compared to the internet of, say, 2007 and beyond.
Either way, now when you search Happy Pig, that is a search that is a little too descriptive, which means it's enough to wake up all the AI across the internet because they detected a prompt. Then all the AI websites put your prompt into their generator without you even asking, and their creations get shuffled into the search results. So you see AI images right beside human photos and illustrations with no indication of the difference. Right now, it's not a big problem, but it's hurting the internet user experience. These are technically depictions of happy pigs, but they're completely unusable. I'm not attaching this to my bacon business, it's gonna scare investors. I used to just search whatever I wanted no matter how creative it was. And while I knew that if my search was specific enough, it wouldn't get any results, that was fine. If something doesn't exist, that's a good thing to know. There's no pictures of happy pigs eating with Michael Jackson because that never happened. That's good. I have truth. I have something to hold on to during those nightmares. And if an image doesn't exist, I can just commission an artist, supporting art while making something that didn't exist before. And theoretically, if I was to commission an artist, I would probably commission a really good artist like Holly D Draws, and I'd ask them to draw something cooler like me in Fortnite. I no longer bother to search for anything creative or ridiculous because I know that AI will be all the more abundant. Before, I would search for something and get no results, which was perfect. The truth was, no artist had drawn what I was looking for. But now, all you have to do is add a celebrity to your search, and welcome to AI City. On the left, we got horrors, and on the right, we got more horrors. The worst part is that the AI doesn't even get it right all the time, and I sometimes have to scroll to the bottom of the page just to see an actual human. Mind you, in all these scenarios, I have never typed in the letters AI. This is resulting in so much wasted time for anyone trying to use Google Images. You might think I'm getting too worked up over the idea of not being able to see real pigs on demand, or maybe you get what it means to be American, but this is only a silly example. What happens when AI gets better? What if it gets good enough to compete with real photos? We won't be able to tell what images are real, which opens up the possibility for false evidence, stolen concepts, and no longer being able to trust anything. Numerous people have made the point that if AI gets realistic enough, we could be in some serious trouble. Good thing it looks like we've got a little bit of time to adjust before that happens. Oh, look, another upgrade. I'm not going to talk about Sora AI too much, just because I think by now every point that could be said about it has already been said. This is a new advancement in AI that is more accurate than ever. It can make a photorealistic video of a shark surfing or a hamster eating caviar. Who even cares anymore? What is the goal of this technology? How does it possibly improve our lives? Good thing the creators told us why they made it. According to OpenAI, the goal of Sora is to train models that help people solve problems that require real-world interaction. They're fake videos. What does this statement even mean? This technology has absolutely no positive value besides deceiving people and taking away jobs. From stock videographers and technically dogs. Woohoo, awesome video. Guess me and T-Bone gotta find a new gig. I seriously scratched my brain trying to think of what good use you could get out of this technology that doesn't harm society or the economy, and I can't think of any, which means this is another medium for the bots to use to invade the internet with. We've gone from the ocean being polluted with oil to the ocean being polluted with oil that looks beautiful. It's still harmful, and this is only a couple of years into AI's debut. What could be next? When it comes to the text conversation part of AI, things are arguably worse. People have started to notice that videos with no audio will get like 70,000 likes and a bunch of comments that make no sense. Twitter is essentially a giant petri dish for this activity because something about the blue check marks or how they verify people there is just making it a haven for bots. And a look into what all social media might look like soon if we're not able to keep AI out. This Twitter account was how I found out about dead internet theory, and it focuses on capturing where most of the discourse around the theory has fallen, AI not being able to read the room. As I alluded to earlier, AI bots have started trying to engage in social media conversations, and it's another one of those things that they're not quite good at yet. It's actually kind of funny. How to get lipstick out of cat's fur.
Responsible to spotting. So cute.
School fight and the teacher jumps in too.
Thank you and World Star for sharing so much positive information. Let's upload World Star for all the great contributions he's given us.
Finally got his acorn.
I'm a serious acorn.
This store owner was tired of being robbed, so he built a trapdoor inside of his business.
Really nice. I can relate. Flotation device.
Bobby Fischer, considered by many to be the greatest chess player who ever lived, playing 50 opponents simultaneously in 1964. In this particular simultaneous exhibition, he won 47 of the matches, drew 2, and lost 1.
Bobby Fischer's extraordinary feat of playing 50 opponents simultaneously in 1964, winning 47 matches, draws 2 and losing 1, showcasing his unparalleled chess prowess and strategic brilliance. Message ChatGPT.
Distinctive appearance of a harpy eagle.
Stunning harpy eagle. Note, the URL provided does not lead to any specific article or content, so it is not possible to write a comment about it. Available here. Lol. Love this. Need. Hello, I'm starting my travel blog. I hope you find this interesting. Good. Oh. Hi. Thanks.
Family Guy was absolutely unhinged. Historic videos? Why? Alright, anyways. Guy of the Family.
Family Guy is an animated sitcom created by Seth MacFarlane for the Fox Broadcasting Company, premiering on
My genius self after realizing I can microwave my spoon so the ice cream is easier to eat.
Best Cook Ever. Let's go. That's the expert.
The GTA 6 trailer was remade in Minecraft.
Minecrafters be crafting for sure, and it shows.
I think something is wrong with my Undertale.
The tail from under.
Red Fox and the Snow.
You didn't provide an API key. You need to provide your API key in an authorization header using bearer auth, i.e. authorization bearer your key, or as the password field with blank username if you're accessing the API from your browser, and you are prompted for a username and password.
Junkie XL will return to compose the score for Sonic 3.
Hey.
LeBron has been in the NBA so long, he's playing the kids of people he used to play against.
You exceeded your current quota. Please check your plan and billing details. For more information on this error, read the docs. OpenAI platform.
When does Peter Griffin come in Fortnite?
That's what I want to know. Fortnite is going to be wild with Peter Griffin.
Dead internet theory is real and it's happening fast. I give it 5 years max before every single meme we see is AI generated. That's just a real tweet I wanted to include because it resonated with me. So as you might have noticed, most of these bots appear to be directly linked to ChatGPT, which means the people rolling out these bots are just using it to spam Twitter. Like, out of all the things you could do with AI, this is what you choose to do? I just don't know. I don't get it. They don't seem to be trying to sell anything most of the time. From the looks of it, it looks like this might just be the result of people who have way too much free time. Like, they don't seem like they're making any money off of these replies. If anything, anyone who uses a bot like this is at a loss because they're both paying for Twitter Blue and the premium version of ChatGPT just to pollute Twitter. I really don't understand the goal of deploying these bots. It's very reminiscent to me of a game called TF2, which for a long time has had a similar problem. TF2 used to be a game that was passionately updated and supported by its developers, but as they moved on to work on different projects, the game was abandoned and left vulnerable to attack. This is a pretty old game and it doesn't feature any modern anti-cheat like most games do today, and because of this, for the last few years, it's had trouble with people sending bots into its servers, filling up player spots as they join any lobby they can. These bots disrupt games and spam messages, and they're making Muselk really angry. They don't provide anything to the threat actor doing them besides just trolling people. I can't stress enough, people are just sending these bots into servers to be annoying. They don't get anything out of it. Could this ever happen to a more modern game like Valorant or Call of Duty? It's possible. How are you going to detect a bot if its AI allows it to play with the same mistakes and unpredictability of a human? It seems unlikely, but I wouldn't be surprised. Both of these examples go into my take on the modern theory. The problem isn't that AI is a secret tool that only a select few people can use. The problem is that it's open to everyone, which means that the most annoying people online have access to it too. If people and companies are happy to produce AI junk on the internet at incredibly high volumes for no profit, what happens when there is an incentive to? I mean, these bots have flooded Twitter just because whoever's in control of them wants to just watch them run around and talk. And the same thing is happening to TF2. Someone out there is ruining their childhood game, TF2, because they have nothing better to do with their time. That is crazy. It's crazy to me that part of the reason why the internet is cooked is not because of some mysterious force or sentient hive mind, but because people are lazy and this is giving them something to do. You think I'm making that up? Look at this Reddit thread about AI conversation. Exactly. It's up to platforms to adapt and develop better filtering systems to handle the increase in content. The upvote system, as well as other moderation tools, will play an even more important role in ensuring that meaningful conversations aren't buried under a mountain of AI-generated posts. It's going to be an interesting challenge in the near future. But how can anyone distinguish human-made and AI-written comments when they will become absolutely indistinguishable in the near future? And won't it just be bot accounts? People can use AI to fully write from their accounts. Okay, I gotta confess, well, I got access to the ChatGPT 4 API, and made a script that finds a random recent comment in the sub, checks the context of the conversation with Google Cloud Vision to see the image posts, and posts a believable reply, and I wanted to see if anyone noticed as an experiment. So yeah, the comment above was AI, and it just selected your comment randomly. Funny coincidence that it was precisely about this topic. Never been this upset on the channel before. If there was a button that could import 100,000 ugly AI images onto the internet, I feel like someone would press it every day. I know it's weird to come at this whole issue being mad at random annoying people on the internet, because let's be honest, that's exactly what they want, but that is what it is right now. Just like anything that gets polluted, annoying and ignorant people are responsible. But that's enough about Twitter and Reddit, as half the problem is moderation anyways. The modern dead internet theory is fascinating because it's happening right now, and it's only going to get worse. The AI is here, and we can point and laugh at its silly mistakes as much as we want, but that's only going to be possible for so long. Remember when the Wikipedia definition of this theory started by saying, "The dead internet theory is an online conspiracy theory, that the internet now consists mostly of bot activity"? I don't think you'll be able to call this a conspiracy for very long. Who knows how much bot activity that Imperva will detect next year. This is only a small ripple of the bigger problems we'll soon have to face, and if AI legislation doesn't come through soon, or we don't come up with a proper tool that can detect it, it won't be long before the internet is completely unusable. If things keep up at this rate, the internet is cooked. But hey, that's just a theory. In internet theory. If you enjoyed this video, or it kind of ruined your day, please click subscribe either way to solve the CAPTCHA so I know you're not AI. Thanks for watching. I am Lufa.